Ready. Yeah.
Okay, hello guys. Today we have with us Debashish on the channel. So hi Debashish. Debashish
Good,
has
Naveen.
been working in the gaming industry for over 14, 15 years. He's been working on the field as a game designer. He's currently a mentor in the game designing field, and also he works as a consultant for monetization. So Debashish, you can start off by just saying how did you get into the gaming industry in the first place?
Okay. Yeah. So game was my interest in throughout my academics.
Right.
I completed MSc in economics, but yeah, later I decided let's do something else. I'm not very keen about having 9 to 5 job. Even I
Right.
do 9 to 5 job in my game studios, but still there are some creative avenues you can explore by some creative work. So I started learning animation and visual effects first from the Institute of Creative Arts.
Okay.
Then later, from 2006 onwards, I got chance to work on some social and educational games. I started with that, and then slowly, I converted myself to designing commercial games for mobile,
Right.
mainly from 2007 onwards. Yeah. So that was the thing.
Okay, that's great. So, Devashish, for us, I asked few of my students in Discord and in YouTube to ask few questions to you. So, I'll ask you those
Okay.
questions if you can answer them for the benefit of everyone. So, the
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
first question, I think this is a question asked by mostly kids who are in school right now. So, the question right
Okay.
now is what software is needed to design games? So these are people who have no idea about the gaming industry. This is the first time they are learning about what is game design. So do they need to learn any particular software?
Okay. So start with to start with game design. First of all, game design is not bound to any software or tool. It's just the idea, the concept you need to have before starting of the project. So the main tool you can have for game design is pen and paper only,
Right.
nothing. You can draw diagrams, you can conceptualize the game mechanics, you can draw game levels. Then to present that thing to someone who can get interest in your game, you
Right.
need just Microsoft Word or even Google document will work. Means you need to write down
Okay.
all the concept mechanics. Now if you proceed further, okay, I can present them some playable thing.
Okay.
Then you need some kind of tool or software like some portless game engines like Construct or Buildbox,
All
or
right.
even if you are handy with Unity 3D, you can use. But to be very specific, for game design, you doesn't need any high-end software, any high-end machine. You can just start with your pen and paper.
Right.
Just
So
conceptualize. Yeah.
so I think the question is like if when they are writing the game design, do they have
Yeah.
to write it in a certain structure? Like I need to write the controls or gameplay, or just write whatever is going in their head to start off things.
No. No, for the concept part, you can start anywhere, starting from the mechanics or starting from the game level as well.
Right.
But presenting the game has some criteria.
Right.
So first of all, you need to come up with a very interesting game name, because all you want to sell the game project. So you need to have a name. So start with a very nice, catchy, trendy name. Then immediately start talking about the game mechanics, what actually player will experience in the game by doing what thing.
Okay.
Then if you're specifying for mobile, you need to write down the controls, like will it have joystick control or only
Okay.
touch based control. If you are planning for a PCs, then how you can manage keyboard or controller together. So control scheme is next.
Okay.
Then if you have any story or any kind of plot in your mind, you need to explain that thing. So starting
Okay.
from game name, game mechanics, control, scheme. The next major important thing is how you can generate revenue from it. Like what's the potential of generating revenue in your game? So most of the time, students, mainly on students projects, they don't care about the money upfront. They just go with the gameplay.
Correct.
Later, when they asked about the money, they start putting everywhere, like showing these ads or selling this kind of packs. So that needs to be considered at the beginning of the game.
Right.
So if you are aware about how you're going to monetize your player, then you can actually formalize the
But
game
this,
design.
but this is mostly for mobile games, right? So let's say a student wants to create a PC game. So
Okay.
isn't the gameplay more important? Like if the gameplay is something that people don't like, then there is no
Yeah.
point even designing the monetization or the money aspects of it. So shouldn't they
Yes.
just
Correct.
create like a very small concept of the gameplay, like let it like develop that and see if people like that. Once they like it, then they can create everything around it. Because there have been
Okay.
so many instances, Devashish, where we have not come up with a game name right till the end. We had a good
Yeah.
concept in our mind. We kind of prototyped
Yeah.
that game, and then people liked the game. Then we kind of build the monetization around it, and then we do that. And there are certain
Yeah.
games. What happened is in those games we kind of thought about everything, monetization and everything. And then when we released, we realized that people don't like the gameplay. So that everything of the monetization that we designed around it did not work. So how do you balance that?
Yeah, correct. So first of all, let me clear about two different approach of designing
Hmm.
a game. First
Correct.
one, if you are making a game for PC console, mostly these games are premium games, means they are sold
Correct.
upfront.
Correct.
So you need to heavily depend on the content or the gameplay or the experience.
Correct.
Now, if you are planning for mobile games, they are primarily free to play games. So you need to consider which means earning money during the gameplay. So
Right.
one is premium set of game, one is free to play game.
Right.
So for the premium game PC or console version, you need to concentrate on what kind of game people are playing and what can be sold for say 500 rupees, 1000 rupees or
Correct.
2000 rupees. So that scale you need to understand beforehand, like I am making this game for PC or console users or for
Correct.
Steam, right? Now, now going to the mobile section, most of the mobile games are free to play. Means you give players experience your game, and
Right.
now how long you can engage them, then only you can get some kind of money. So here's the term called LTV, lifetime value of the game.
Correct.
So lifetime value is the factor of two things: spending of the player and how long he is playing the game.
Okay.
PC games are finite games. Why PC games are finite games? It can be built around a story or it can be built around a limited progression. Like, okay, my game has 60 hours of play. My game
Correct.
has 90 hours of play. That's it.
Correct.
Additional challenges, additional DLCs you can provide based on game overall experience. But most of the mobile games are endless. Like you
Correct.
can play for years. So the approach of engaging your player for first 7 days is important. You cannot expect any kind of buying or conversion within 7 days. So
Right.
first 7 days, you need to consider how you can engage them, make them habit of playing your game.
When you're
Then
talking about
slowly,
retention, how do you retain the players for
yes,
7 days? Yes.
yes, yes. So first primary objective need to be there. How to retain them for 7 days. Do not disclose everything on 7 days. Let pick few things for reveal after 7 days. Means
Right.
if you show everything upfront, player will experience, maybe they will stick, or maybe they can say, okay, I have explored this game and I'm done with it. So slowly reveal your content,
Correct.
lengthen the progression of the game,
Right.
let player consume in small chunks. Means you reveal something on 5th day, you reveal something on
Correct.
7th day, you reveal something on 15th day. Then once they get used to your game and you get a good retention number,
Right.
then you can monetize. Means the primary objective of monetizing is
Correct.
you need to play with the player impatience. Like you are not giving them the free way to move, and you are asking money to you can get a free way, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
you need to play with players impatience, like they are getting impatient about progressing fast, but your mechanics is not letting them go. then only you can actually stage gate them, and then you can extract some kind of money. Means buy few packs or engage in this kind of activity, and then you can proceed. Means after 15 days. So whatever conversion happen for any kind of game, that actually starts after 15 days. Even for major games like Supercell or King, they think this.
So once the players are retained,
days.
after then they
Yes.
start doing that.
Yes.
Okay,
and
so
if you have a monetization model of ad based, then you can start from the second onwards or third session onwards, because your primary objective is to show the ad, right?
right, like
So
hyper casual
that
games mostly.
Yes.
Correct.
So don't mix everything together. Every game has their own way of generating money.
Right.
So that's the way you need to first. Means you need to identify the game type, game user, and how you want to balance the progression of the game.
Right. The second question was, do you need to know Photoshop or any kind of programming language to be a game designer?
Practically, game designers are not meant for programming anything or create any artwork.
Right.
They are the ideation person, but eventually in game world, only idea man doesn't work, right? You need to provide some kind of output. So if you are a sole game designer, you need to concentrate only idea and the economy part. Means your tools are Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. That's it.
Right.
And some kind of diagram, any kind of flow chart, that's it. But if you want to contribute in a better way, of course, Photoshop, basic understanding of Unity, basic visual effect, that you can understand. Of course, you can contribute. But if you are a hardcore game designer, you don't need to worry about.
So let's say if some of these students goes to a company for a job, so is it necessary for them to have like Photoshop or Illustrator or basic Unity in their portfolio?
No.
Not necessarily, right? Because initially you don't need.
Necessary.
It's only when you learn in the job, then you.
Yes,
it's an add-on.
Yes, correct. So I must say it's a good to have. Means
yeah, exactly.
Not in the first 5 category. So what I see when I interview someone is their communication skill. So communication skill has 3 levels. First one, speaking. Nobody will going to read your document, but you need to convey your concept to the team member, right? So first level of skill set is how you speak, how you convey your idea to others.
Right.
Second line of communication is good writing, structural writing.
Right.
What are the main points? What are the features? Details about those features. Analyze different game.
Right.
And third way of communication is presentation.
Right.
Means how precisely in 1-page document you can present your game.
Correct.
In a 3-page document, you can present your entire idea of making a 1-year project.
Correct.
So basic thing I look for in game designer is communication skill, speaking, writing, and presenting.
Brilliant.
And anything Photoshop, SoundForge.
It's basically an addition to your skill set.
It's an addition, yes, of course.
Okay. I think the next question is probably asked by someone who has already started doing some kind of game design, because it's a technical question. It's how do you decide how many currencies a game should have?
Okay. Yeah, it's a nice question. People sometimes not able to decide what kind of currency we need to have. So
just before we answer that, Debashish, can you just explain to others who doesn't know this, what do we mean by game currencies, and like why do we have game currencies? Just very briefly, like one line or two.
Okay. So I can explain it in 2-3 sentences. So game currency is just like a virtual currency. You need to buy and sell something, right? So even in our real life, we earn currency and we spend currency to get whatever we don't have. So even in game, when we perform certain thing like clearing certain objective or doing some mission, game rewards us with some kind of currency. Now what we will do with those currency? The next mission or the next level requires some improvement on our inventory or some kind of power. So we can spend this currency to acquire those things. So in overall thing, currency is the thing that we get for achieving something, and we spend to get whatever we don't have.
Right.
Now, most of the game, even if mobile or PC console, they ideally have two types of currency. I'm not talking about the count. First, I will talk about the types. First one is grind currency. Grind currency means that is easily available in the game by performing small tasks like clearing a level, killing few enemies, or even you get by just logging in. You log in and you get 50 currency.
Right.
So these are called grind currency, and ideally these are identified as coins, gold coins or silver coins.
Right.
Now another type of currency is there that is called premium currency.
Right.
So why premium currency? Means if you do some kind of task 100 times, then you get premium currency. Means achieving of premium currency is little harder in the game.
Right.
So just like gems or diamonds. So even in real life, normal coins are easy, but getting diamonds is difficult. Similarly, when we spend this currency, they should have some appropriate spending mechanism. Grind currency coins are primarily used for upgrading your character or buying new weapon. But to participate in a particular mode of the game or getting a new character, you need gems, like the premium one. So now, if I come to how many numbers of currency you need, ideally you can, if you are making a casual game, only single currency will work for you.
Correct.
If you have a strategy game or role-playing game, you can have these two types of currency, coins and gems. Now, if you want to have more layer about it, then you can introduce another rare currency like sapphire or some kind of mystical stones. That is more rarer than the premium currency.
Correct.
And that you can sell inside the game store. But fundamentally, you need to have a very strong relation between all these currencies.
Correct.
Yes. Even though you are not allowing player to convert from one currency into another, but you internally, your mechanism should have like 1,000 coins equal to 1 gem and 10 gem equal to 1 sapphire if you have that level. But ideally, player will not able to convert this inside.
But some games do allow. Some games do allow to convert the currencies as well. Yeah.
Yes, some games when they feel like you have plenty of something, but you are not able to use it, so then they allow this conversion. But actually allowing conversion means they have some kind of flaws in the game.
Right, it's just to escape that balance. Yeah.
Yes. So, for example, I have acquired 1 million coins, but I don't have any way to spend those. But I have 10 gems, but I need 100 gems to spend. So, if you are allowing coins to gems, mean your game is not balanced on source and sink point. So, that's the idea. You should have multiple currency only if you can manage that.
Right.
So, ideally, you should go with one currency, maximum 2, but manage it well in the game, source and sink part, how you can earn and how you can spend.
Right,
so that's the logic.
I think that's a very good answer. Now, I think the next question is probably covered, which is balance. There's another question, probably I'll take that a bit later on, but an interesting question was, should a game designer know how to design all genres of game?
Ideally,
I think the question is probably if somebody enters a job and that person is basically a Dota player, and then he has to create a hyper casual game. Should he be able to create the hyper casual game, although he doesn't like hyper casual games?
Okay, so very good question, and very controversial question from perspective of professionalism.
Yeah.
So ideally, a game designer should know all kind of game design. Ideally.
Right.
Practically, as much as possible.
Right.
But when you go to a job, you don't have any choice. Even if you are a Dota fan or a hyper casual fan, and if you are asked to make a real money game, you need to do that. So how to have that?
Correct. Yes, exactly.
So you need to have a very distinction between two things: what you play and what you make.
Right.
As a player, you can be a lifelong Dota fan. I don't have any issue.
Right.
But when you come to making game, don't expect I will give you Dota to make.
Yeah. Correct.
So that's the difference you need to understand. What I consume and what I offer. Consumption is absolutely your perspective. You
Right.
can be a match 3 fan for entire life. You can be a Dota fan for entire life. No
Right.
issues. But when it comes to professionalism, from your perspective, your deliverables, you need to know all. But practically, it's not possible. So how to do that? You just research on every type of game. So there are major 4 genres in the game. One is real money games, one is sports, one is casual, and one is mid-core. Now, mid-core and casual has the highest category and subcategory.
Correct.
So I practically suggest everyone who wants to make career in game design, they should concentrate on strategy, uh, sports, and RPG. Why these 3 parts? Strategy has the multiple layers of meta gaming.
Correct.
Means
Correct. Correct.
if you
It
if
can be
you
used
if you
anywhere.
know,
Yeah.
it can be used anywhere. So
Correct.
small scale, large scale, mega scale,
Correct.
strategy can be used everywhere.
Correct.
Why you need sports? Because sports is one genre that can also be part of any game, right?
Right.
So now these fantasy games, even the licensed games are coming, so you can get chance to work on these things.
Right.
And
Right.
why you need RPG? Because RPG give you the understanding of boss, enemy, mega boss, super boss, all these things. So if you master these 3 game genres, you can make any kind of game
Correct.
practically.
Great. I think the next question is probably fits into that is, do you suggest any good books or I guess any good resources for game design?
Yeah, of course. Designers need to read a lot from any kind of article, blog, any kind of webinar they need to follow. But yeah, in terms of books, I can suggest 3 books that I personally like. One book is Art of Game Design. Art of Game Design by Jesse Shell.
Right.
Level Up, The Guide to
That-
Design Great Video Game by Scott Roger.
Right.
And The Theory of Fun for Game Design by Rap Foster.
Right.
So these 3 games, these 3 books is a must read for all game designers. And along with all the GDC videos, all the interaction that happening in IGN or any network that people talk about game, analyze about game. Also, they need to regularly visit uh, sites like App Annie for actual real-time data. Yeah. So these are the must-have for all game design.
All game. Excellent. Again, I think an interesting concept probably is, what games would you recommend for a starting game designer to play? I guess the problem which I'll say first is the problem I see whenever I talk to someone who's like getting into game design. What games have you played? They go around Counter Strike, FIFA, Call of Duty, PUBG, and it's a loop. I think this is in India. I think there's a huge amalgamation of people who are in that world of Counter Strike, PUBG, Call of Duty, FIFA. But I think as a game designer, the more variety of games you play, and especially indie games,
correct.
I think if you look at the indie games, there's so much variety, so much different concepts around the world. I think those are a better approach, right?
Yeah, correct. Okay, so I can answer this in different perspective. So first of all, I say to all my students or whoever I interact with, Counter-Strike and this kind of first-person, third-person shooter is not a game design at all. So they are like static. You just go and shoot. There is no game design involved into it. Whatever is designed 20 years back is still there.
More or less, it's the same. More or less,
it's the same thing.
Yep.
So there is no novelty or there is no difficulty of designing these games.
Correct.
So what you need to research or play? First of all, you need to play a lot of strategy games.
Right.
starting from all kind of card games like Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering, Gwent, all these things. And you need to play lots of role-playing games. If you can analyze or manage any kind of Japanese RPG games, means JRPG games, it's a huge.
Right.
One single character can have 8500 levels of upgrade with all unique power.
Correct, absolutely.
So those, if you play those games, those actually help you in your professional career.
Much more. Yeah.
Not by just Counter Strike or FIFA.
Right.
Because these are static games. There is no scope for having anything.
And I think what you said is bang on. Like when in college or school I played Counter Strike. I mean, apart from the graphics being really realistic and the guns being realistic and the art looking fantastic, in terms of the levels, they're almost the same.
Yeah, correct.
Yes, so you're correct. Yes.
So in terms of game design, if you want to know different system, how now the concept of systemic game design is coming out. What is systemic game design? So if you design two systems and they can interact and come up with an alternative output. So I can give you one example. So you designed rain in the game, right? Rain.
Right.
And you designed terrain walking in the game. But what about having both things together?
Got it.
So rain will affect your walking. You can slip down, you can fall. So that is systemic game design, right?
Correct.
So if you want to explore these things, you need to play variety of game. I'm not against Counter-Strike or Dota. Dota is also a very deep level game. But if you only stick with these games, you are actually limiting your scopes. Because as a game designer, you need to be open for all kind of game design. Even so, if someone asks you to design a real money poker game, you should not say no, because that also needs multiple systems to develop, right?
Right.
So explore, play varieties of games.
Cool. And the question comes is, I have a good concept in mind. How do I change it into a game? I guess this is more like a practice and how you present. I think the question is more about how do you present it. So if somebody has an idea in mind and that person does not know code or does not know art, can he or she just write the game idea and then just show it to others? Because
fine, absolutely fine. So what I said in the beginning, how you should prepare your communication document. So first of all, whatever game you have in mind, search for similar games.
Right.
If you find 60-70% similar game, that means your game will not, means your idea is not sellable. It's already there. So first level of you can say playtest is searching similar games.
But now, over there, if I act as a devil's advocate, there are many people who would argue and say that I'll search a game, it is similar, but my idea is different from that game and I'm going to make it better than already existing game. For example, there are many examples of games. Let's say a good example, a very good example is probably Angry Birds. There were games like Angry Birds before, right? Exact Slingshot. I forgot the name of the game, but it was similar mechanic if you look at it. Angry Birds came and that kind of completely changed the domain of mobile gaming. If you look at Candy Crush, right? Bejeweled has been there for ages. Candy Crush is just a kind of topped up version of Bejeweled. So if somebody sees a game like that and they say that I have seen this game and I know the flaws in that game, my game is going to address those flaws and make it better. Shouldn't they see from that point of view?
Correct. Yeah, Dhruv, you come to the same point. So what I mean to say, if you have an idea, get a similar game, try to find it fast because it will help you to evolve your idea. Then find the why of that game, that why player will not play that game as your game.
Correct. Okay.
So you need to find the answer of why. This why is very, very important for your game.
Right.
So this why can be answered. Okay, I will have better mechanics than this game.
Right.
I have that this game doesn't have.
Correct.
or I can improve whatever flaws it has. I
Correct.
can improve the experience. I can improve the monetization part. I can improve the story part. I can improve the visual part. So there are so many whys, right? So you need to find your own why, write down those things, because if someone points something to you, it is always better you get that thing firsthand and answer those questions. Like
Right.
I gave an idea and someone said, yeah, 5 years back I have played similar game. Why not you provide that thing? Okay, this was the game you are talking about, right? But these games doesn't have this thing. I have this thing.
Correct. So
So
note down
let's
those
plan.
points as to why your
Yes,
game is different, why your game will do
yes.
better. Okay.
Yeah, so novelty always doesn't mean you need to have a new game.
Correct.
Novelty is packing the same thing. So I can give you a very casual example.
Yes.
If you sell a 6 rupees vada pav,
Right.
and if you wrap it properly like a burger, you can sell it in 10 rupees.
Correct. Okay.
Same vada pav, but different packaging,
Right.
different kind of presentation. But inside, mostly these things are common. So I talked about the presenting part in my early question. Like you need to have a communication skill, but communication has 3 parts: speaking, writing, and presenting. You by the presenting thing, you can sell same vada pav
Right.
like a burger to someone.
Right.
So game design is not about designing unique game. Game designing is selling your idea. So think about a salesman just like he sells his pen, his very regular product, but in a unique style. So
Yeah.
that's the way a designer should do always. Sell your idea.
But this is also there's a very good answer, and probably that's something I would suggest to many people. But I think there is
Yeah.
one point which I want to address. There's a lot of friction when it comes
Mhm.
to game design and the concept of you need to sell your idea, because a lot of people
Mhm.
have this notion that I have this novel idea, but I don't want
Mhm.
to go to the concept of thinking of selling the idea. This is just
Mhm.
creativity. It is not something that I want to sell. So I think the question, probably the next question ties in with this is, are you making a game for the audience or for yourself? Which ties in beautifully with the answer to this question itself.
Okay. So game design is always player centric. So if we say how to design game or how to make game, just take the player perspective.
It is always about the
Game design
audience.
is always about the audience. Game design, game development is always a player centric approach, not person centric approach who is
Right.
making this game.
Right. So if nobody plays your game,
So
there is no point.
yes.
Right. It's like,
So what
yeah.
the So the first question I always ask to my student after they submit their design concept or they are very powerful about their concept, I immediately ask, do you play this game tomorrow? Immediately I ask them.
Right.
If they hesitate for 2 seconds, I immediately answer, come with a new concept.
Right.
Means
Yeah.
if
Exactly.
they are as a consumer,
Hesitant to play
if they
their
are
own
not,
game. Yeah.
how? It's
Yeah.
not possible.
Yeah.
It's not
Exactly.
possible. It's not sellable. And sellable is not always money. Sellable
Exactly.
means convincing someone to work on your game. So, for
Yeah.
example, you have an idea, you are a designer, you need some studio or development team to develop. So, first way of selling is to convince that team that you believe in this idea and they should believe in your idea as well.
Right.
Money comes very later, like after 1 year or after 6 months. First, sell your concept. Let them believe on you and also on your concept. Then comes the development part, in evolving that product, selling that product to player. So first way of selling is sell to your team or sell to an investor or sell to a development team, because you alone you can't do anything.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. 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 Excellent. I think that pretty much wraps up all the questions that I have.
Okay.
Like, in finishing, do you want to summarize what you want to say about game design and anything you want to tell to students or college students or school students who wants to get into the field of game design?
Yeah, sure. So I have some line of tips that I always give
Right.
at the beginning of the class or at the end of the module. First of all, make a habit of playing 3 new games every week.
Okay.
These 3 games doesn't mean this is new to the store. It can be a 20 years old game. This needs to be new to you.
Right.
So anything you have not played yet, you should try 3 new games every week. This is the first thing you need to do.
Right.
First thing. Second thing, you need to research on those things. Means don't just consume the game, okay, I have played 10 hours or 2 hours or 5 hours. Try to find out why these games are popular or what things are lacking in this game, how I can improve.
Correct.
So no software, no game is meant for like they don't need improvement.
Correct.
Even the game like Last of Us 2 that released last week, people are criticizing for so many things. So means there is scope for improvement, right?
Yeah.
Even the score.
See, there's a very common saying in games that when I was working in UK, people used to say that a game never gets completed, it gets taken away. Because as a game designer, you always see that there is something more that you can add to the game. But then there are constraints that you have to release on this November, have to release in December. Then what happens is last 3-4 months you are panicking and trying to finish as much as possible. And there will always be bugs. There is no game that has been released that is bug free. So that's out of the question. And as you said, there are a lot of games where people have marketed the bug as a feature.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. There are many similar incident where things are not planned, but they actually come out as a good feature.
So correct.
Yeah. So.
And when you suggest 3 games in a week, Debashish, are you suggesting mobile games or can they play mobile games, PC games, Xbox, anything?
Anything. Don't just carry it away with the game.
Right.
If you like it, play it for a long time. But always try to get something new every week because that will give more exposure to your thought process. So playing 3 games is must, means you should not relax this thing. Maybe you should increase this number. Okay. Second thing is choose game for all genres. Again, not Dota, not Counter-Strike, not PUBG, not Candy Crush. You should not stick with one genre because game industry is expanding. They are coming as hybrid games. Now you cannot specifically say this is this genre game. These are all hybrid games, right? So try to go for different genres of the game. Improve on, as I said, communication skill.
Right.
Explore game technology beyond game. So now this is very important point. I guess we can have a separate discussion over it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So game is not now limited to only playing games.
Correct.
There are gamification, simulation, training, everywhere. Gaming technology.
Many industries, like just an example to some people who probably want an example is recently from our company we created a VR application for a mining company.
Yes.
And
yes, correct.
And the mining company used that application for their training, for onboarding program. They wanted to use an application where they can use that. So it's, as you said, automobile is massive right now. Automobile using gaming technologies. Movies. Recently, I learned that the Indian movie industry is doing a tie-up with Unreal Engine to have more of the gaming content. So yeah, very good point. Very good point. Yeah.
The next point I will specifically say, explore the 2 major things for success of any game.
Right.
As a game designer, you should know 2 aspects, SEO and ASO. You can say, okay, this is digital marketing thing, I should not learn this thing. But at least get idea
basics.
Basics of SEO and ASO. ASO means App Store optimization.
Right.
So if you know how these things work, you can better sell your product.
Right.
Okay. Product means your game design. And the last and most important thing, I ask people, and mostly people don't follow this. Always ask question.
Okay.
always ask questions means even if you are watching a YouTube video of some eminent game designer, just post a question in the comment.
Right.
Go to Reddit or any blog. Just
I mean,
post a
explore.
question.
From your curiosity,
Yes.
just explore. Yes.
Yes, you need to ask if you are interacting with any game designer or developer. Just ask two questions, any random question. What about what game you play at the beginning of your day?
Right.
Just to know their thought process. It's not a relevant question, but you can start with this if you
Correct.
are not sure what to ask. So this is questioning means you are actually validating your own doubts. So if you have a doubt, you are validating with other person. So questioning and answering the question is the priormost property, you can say. If we say game design is a skill, what kind of property you need to have?
Yes.
Ask question and answer question.
Brilliant.
That's two things.
Brilliant. So thank you, Devashish, for your time today. I think the students will definitely benefit. I'll ask all the students to, as Devashish said, to probably ask all your questions in the comments below or on the Discord channel.
Yeah, sure.
So then maybe
I'm
we can
also available.
Yeah. So maybe we can do another video based on the questions, and if there's a common thread that people want to know, we can do another another video on that. So thank you, Devashish, for your time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Dhruv.
Thank you.
Yeah.